Drago.
What is going on?
Wow, it's been a while.
It's been 2 weeks, brother. You've been on vacation, living the
I'm
dream
sh-
out there.
I'm sure our three listeners were very much waiting on pins and needles
They were.
at,
They
at
were.
3 o'clock Eastern on Wednesdays, waiting
Hey,
for our pod to come out.
you got to start somewhere though, bro.
We gotta start somewhere. So I'm at the new Go Be Great podcast studios. What do you think?
It looks amazing. It looks good,
You
right?
told me to put all my favorite trinkets up. So I got a little Connor McGregor. Wait, right there. There you go. Little Connor. I've loved Connor for a long time. Cubs World Series, Metallica, Iowa Hawkeyes, all my favorite things. And then
Who's
most
who's the
importantly,
who's the
my family.
bobblehead? Who's the bobblehead and who's the autograph baseballs? I need to know.
Ryan Sandberg autograph baseball, bobblehead Derek Lee.
Rhino, let's go.
Rhino, let's go.
Rhino.
So who would
Rhino
be
was the best.
what would be your trinkets? Let's
Uh,
see,
uh,
who's the helmet behind you?
I got Jose Canseco, obviously best player of all time in the MLB, taking a picture with Wally Jordan as a rookie. I got my I got my football helmet. Obviously, you can see I got a bunch of Raider stuff on here. I got a Lincoln Park. That was the first concert me and my wife went to. Was
Oh,
awesome. So
nice.
got me a big thing. I mean, I'm into like UFOs and stuff. So that's an autographed picture of Travis Walton, the first dude that ever got abducted by an alien and came back to the Earth. So I got some crazy stuff too.
Cool. We all got our little interests and we all got our little addictions,
We do.
right? So
We
we were
do.
talking a little bit before we got on about our addictions, right? And we all still have them. And mine aren't as bad as they used to be when I was a cocaine addict. For those that haven't been on, I'm 14 years clean, so that was a long time ago. You can trust me with your home loan now. I don't know if they should have trusted me 14 years ago. I was still a really good loan officer, right?
Hey,
And
did anybody
it
ever
was
say
mostly contained to the weekend, unless I had to put like a borrower with 6 tax returns together. Then I'd take a couple rips, but
you never got a, hey man, you talk really fast?
yeah, you clench your jaw a lot. I shouldn't make fun of this, but I'm so glad that I'm to a point now that I can laugh about where I was at, my rock bottom, and I know you can too. So we all have addictions, right? And we've definitely solved our biggest ones, but we still have ones, and they all come from the same behavior. So you were sharing a little bit with me about an addiction you're trying to break. I'll share with you a couple of mine, and I think like I'm a strong Christian man. You're a strong man. That's wife and family is important to you, and it's important after we and hopefully you don't have substance abuse addictions like Drago and I had, right? And these are easier addictions you have. But all y'all listening right now, I promise you, y'all freaking got addictions, right? And
Yeah.
you can do better, and you can solve them, and you don't got to accept them. So, a couple of yours.
Yeah, so okay, so for a long time I was trying to get sober, and to help me get sober, I use this medication called Zuboxone. Zuboxone is this medicine you take every day, and it does whatever to your brain chemistry and makes you not want to use drugs. And so I stayed on that for a long time. No doctor or nobody ever told me it's going to be like horrible to get off of, like to the point where I lost a job. I could not function because it messes with your brain chemistry. So like I did what the doctor told me, and we cut down the medication. Like I literally, it's like a film strip that you put on your tongue, and I would cut the strip so tiny, like I had to look in the mirror to make sure it was even on there, which is crazy. So it was a very very hard road, and I was introduced to this stuff called kratom. Kratom is a plant from Indonesia. Um, they say it's like an alkaloid,
So hold
whatever
on a
that
second.
mess.
Hold on a second. I want to make sure everyone listening understands. So you used to have an addiction to what,
Opioids.
right?
Hmm.
And then to get off that, they gave you what?
Suboxone and methadone.
Suboxone and methadone, right? So
Hmm.
then the addiction came off of the opioids, right?
Hmm.
And went
Kratom.
to Suboxone
Oh, it's
and
Suboxone and methadone, right?
methadone, right? So methadone they give for a lot. They give it like I was in NA with a lot of people struggling with ecstasy, and they'd give them methadone and the heroin addicts. There was a couple of them that were struggling with that when I was in NA, right? So it's steps, right? So the big bad addiction was what?
Opioids,
And
heroin,
then the step below is what?
Suboxone and methadone.
Cool. And now the step below is what?
Kratom.
Kratom. Okay.
Yeah.
So right now we're working through what?
We're working through trying to not take kratom anymore. I don't know, like I'm real open about being sober, and I am sober. I'm not using drugs. I'm not killing my life. I'm not trying to kill myself, but I do take this stuff called kratom. I've taken it for a long time. When I was introduced to kratom, like it was crazy, man. Like, and you could ask my wife, I just couldn't, I wasn't sick. I just could not function mentally, and we're sales guys, right? And I had a job at the time where I needed to talk to people and I just could not do it. And so I was looking for something to just help me, because I knew I did not want to go back to that, because it was the worst trying to get off, right? So
Back to what?
back to methadone or Suboxone, because I just
Cool.
like, I'm like,
So you
hey,
didn't want to take a step back up.
correct.
Right.
But I mean, to be fair, I was willing to take 2 steps back to go 10 steps forward, because that's what getting on Suboxone did for me, right?
Like the floor no steps is some of my Mormon friends, right? They're
Real
on
mafia.
the floor,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
no caffeine,
Oh yeah.
no alcohol, no tobacco.
Hey, no sex. Let's not forget about no sex, right? No Mormons,
I
no
think
sex.
they have sex, don't they?
No, I
Yes,
mean
they do with lots of people.
they do some
I'm sorry, I'm making fun of my Mormon friends because I do have several Mormon friends. I love you guys, but no, what I'm saying though is like you like punk rock, and me and you have some shared musical interests, right? Like I remember back in the day where it was hardcore, right? Like
yeah.
a lot of the punk rock was like, I'm hardcore, which means no substances of abuse.
Yeah. Straight
So,
edge. We were straight edge. That's how
straight
we
edge.
grew up.
That's what I was looking for,
You
right?
gotta
Straight edge.
give them the X.
Yep, the straight edge X. And if they have the X on their hand, that means substance free, right? And that's rare for all of us, right? So if you're not straight edge or you're not Mormon, then you have an addiction, right? So don't think you're better than Drago here. Listen to him. No judgment by any of our listeners, but talk through like what's the next step down. So now you have this addiction, right? You keep seeing mine.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Coffee
So,
2:30, right? You told me 2:30 every day, right?
Watch the two. Watch the contrast between me and you. I like to go fast, fast, fast. You need to slow down, right?
Yeah.
I'm already slow. I need to be sped up. You're too fast and you need to be slowed down.
Be slow.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're on the opposite end of the spectrum, right?
Yeah,
but
for sure.
My freaking addiction, oh, it's socially acceptable. Doesn't make it all right. Makes me feel like crap. I go off of caffeine, and guess how I feel?
You're gonna feel like shit for a week or two.
Guess how I feel when I sugar detox for a month?
You probably feel horrible.
Those first 3 days are miserable.
Yeah.
Worse than cocaine withdrawal.
Yeah.
Worse than opioid withdrawal or similar, right?
Yeah.
It is horrible. I'll puke, I'll sweat, diarrhea. It's so y'all got freaking addictions, and don't pretend like you don't. You need to listen in and watch it. So what are some things you're doing to work through this realization? When did you realize it? What are you doing about it? And what's the next step down?
Oh, great question. So I think for me, just as I grow as a person and I open up about my sobriety, and I just feel like I still take this substance that I take every day. And you're right. It doesn't lead me to prison. It's not going to kill me. It's not ruining my life or my family, but it's still something that I take daily. Right. I mean, to be fair, like, so it's legal in the United States, but it's illegal in other states. So Samantha, I'm sorry, but she's gonna freak out. But we went to Ireland for a week. I found out you can't bring kratom because kratom's illegal. So like I brought it with me. I smuggled freaking kratom into Ireland. It is in my bag. Nothing happened, but like just it's something that I take every day, and I'm coming to the realization that like maybe I don't need this anymore because I've been doing it a long time and I have enough tools in my toolbox to be sober. And I feel like I'm just using that as a crutch, right? Mm-hmm. As an excuse on why I take this. Cause like I'm getting to the point now where like I'm doing podcasts and I'm meeting with people and I'm sitting on panels, and I feel like it's not allowing me to articulate and be who I am. I'm very authentic. I come off authentic, but sometimes like when I'm in front of people and cause I'm like always so nervous about saying the wrong stuff, and it makes me calm. But I feel like it's also dulling my personality to actually articulate how I feel and what I think of stuff. Does that make sense?
Not getting your authentic self, right?
I mean, I feel like I'm being authentic, but I feel like I'm not, I want to be next level. I want to be great. I want people to listen to me and say, wow, that was so great and impactful. And I feel like I have the ability to do that, but I'm on this substance. And I feel like this substance is not allowing me to get there, is if what I'm saying.
Yeah. So mine are, I talked to you about this. So since you got in trouble by Samantha, I'm in trouble by Kristen, right? I have this knee-jerk reaction if you see an attractive girl or woman to look for too long, right?
Yeah.
And it's not that I'm checking her out and I've got myself away from any lustful thoughts, and I've completely, through my spirituality, love of my wife, and trying to improve myself, I call it rubbernecking, right? Even with my friends, I won't rubberneck. I will not snap my head back and like, whoa, right?
Yeah.
And there's some of my friends, listen, you all freaking do it, and you're dirty dogs. I don't do that, right? I used to, I don't anymore, right? And dogs are going to be dogs, or guys are going to be dogs. Like, bullshit. That's your own weakness in an addiction that makes you feel good about yourself. That's the truth, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So now it's that pause too long, right? I'm driving down Jatan. There's tons of affluent, attractive, good looking people that live where I live, right? Cool. Like,
Yeah.
don't even look,
Yeah.
right? I'm that close to it, really, right? Every once in a while, I'll see a weakness, like, well, I looked for 2 seconds, right? The running pants were a little tight. Right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was just a moment of attention. I'm almost to the point where it's none of that, right? But that's still an addiction and something I'm still working through and trying to improve upon and be stronger, right?
Yeah,
And
it's still there. It's still there.
yeah,
It doesn't go away. So that's kind of like what I'm
yeah, and honey, if you're watching, like, I know when we went to see Justin Timberlake and we had wild, crazy, passionate sex that night, I know you were probably thinking about him and taking it out on me. So don't think you're any better than me. I love you, boo.
Hey,
But
we know how it works. We know how it works.
yeah, I'm happy to be the Justin Timberlake vessel. It's like when Max Crosby was in The Office, right?
You got it. You got it.
And I'm sure I know we had a very nice dinner together, and I'm sure you got lucky that night. And I want you to know she wasn't thinking about you at all.
1000%, 1000%. She's like, he made eye contact with me the whole way down the whole way down the escalator.
And
like,
guys are happy to be the vessel, right? But I want to train my mind that there's not even a look at another woman, not even for a millisecond, right? And that's been a huge progression. So that's 2 addictions that I'm constantly working on. Guess what my other addictions are? 2:00 coffee. I don't freaking need it. I don't need it, but I've trained myself that I need the caffeine and I need to get through the day, and I'm a really hard worker, right? Now, is that better than my cocaine addiction?
For sure.
Absolutely. Is it socially acceptable? Absolutely. But guess what? 13 cups of coffee, which I used to be on, does to you over time.
Hey, you're going to have a heart attack.
Yeah. And guess how many 13 cups of coffee was per day?
I couldn't even.
3 to 4 coffees. People think like, oh, 13 times of coffee. No.
Yeah.
This is 4 to 5 cups of coffee.
For sure, because it's super strong. I do the same thing. I drink a 5-hour energy every morning, and my wife's just like, "Oh, that is horrible." And I'm like, "It's my thing. I don't do the coffee in the morning, and that's what gets me rolling." So I'm
energy
I'm with
drinks.
You.
Have you seen the 10X Health guy
Oh yeah,
that
for
talks
sure.
about what's in energy drinks?
Yeah, he's here in Vegas for sure. It's disgusting. Yeah,
They literally go to sewage waste treatment centers, scrape off the top bubbly, which is like the bacteria of the poop and the pee, scrape off all the bubbles, dry it out, and put it in your freaking energy drink. You are drinking waste and sewage.
yeah, horrible. Don't get the kids
People
started
don't
on
know.
those. Yeah, for sure. I'm
That
blessed. I'm
prime
blessed.
stuff,
My teens aren't super
horrible.
big energy drink people, so that's awesome.
But what we're trying to say is, hey, there are observations we need to make in our life, and mine have been Advil in the past, right? Oh, and everyone makes stupid excuses, like myself. Oh, I was a catcher my whole life, right? And I sit at a desk all day,
Yeah.
I was a linebacker in high school, and I have all these football injuries, so I'm gonna have to have bad joints, and I need to take ibuprofen. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. It's I should be standing more through the day and get a standing desk. Hey, I
Yeah.
need a mobility and stretching coach to
Correct.
take care of my mobility, right?
Or
Hey,
move the body more. Move the body more during the day. Like,
I need to eat healthier because the things I'm eating is causing this joint pain and inflammation, not
yeah.
something from frickin' 30 years ago.
But the problem is, oh, it works so good. So, and then you forget that what you're taking not necessarily could be harmful, but or if you're taking over a long time, like that's the problem too. Like, thinking about like, what am I doing to my body by taking this stuff? And you just, it's like, oh, I've been doing it for a long time. It's what I do. So, it's like my daily routine. But I think you got to be self-conscious enough to be like, hey, man, I don't know if that's for me anymore. Right. I
Right.
mean, I don't know if many people have that conversation in their head with themselves, like, this might not be for
Well,
me anymore.
when I was able to start changing that after I related it back to my initial addictions and say, hey, I'm better. I'm not
Yeah.
all the way better. I
Yeah.
still have this behavioral problem.
Yeah.
Right. And for me, it was childhood trauma, right? It was therapy I needed to go through, but it was also the realization that I'm masking a bigger problem.
Yeah.
Yes, I can take frickin' ibuprofen and my joints don't hurt, and I can blame it on high school injuries, right? But the truth is, I needed to change my diet. I needed to change my morning routine. I needed to change my daily routine. And this is just a signal to my body that this is a bigger issue I need to fix. And if I mask it with something convenient and easy, the bigger problem's going to pop up in the future.
Yeah. So that leads it to like, what am I going to do? So this is what I thought about is I feel like I need to go back through the steps again. I did that when I got sober, and I did the work there, and I'm going to go find another sponsor, and I'm going to have them take me back through the steps, and I'm going to work through that, and I'm going to see what is going on there. Because obviously, like I, got sober and I did Suboxone and I did all the steps, but I never really figured out like, why do I need to take this substance? Because it makes me feel good. So I need to go figure that out, and that's what I'm going to go do.
Cool, man. You're super
Yeah.
brave. I love
Yeah.
you, man.
I love you too, man.
You're just there's very few people willing to be as authentic and as real as you for the betterment of everybody around. We all hide these issues. We're not upfront about them. I know talking about them makes me better because I'm not going to get on this platform and talk about something I'm working on and not really work hard on
Yeah,
it. To
because then it's just
realize that,
it's fake. Then like there's a lot of talking, especially in
yeah,
our industry, right? There's just so much talking, but there's never any action. So I just put a lot of thought, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk about this today, because I've just have kind of felt this way for a minute. I've never really talked about it, and then when we were thinking about a topic today, it's like I got to talk about it. I got to
yeah,
get it out, and I feel like me getting this out and having this conversation, that's putting the motions in forth, because I knew what I wanted to do. Have I done it yet? No, but now I just put it out to the universe, and the whole world knows what's going on.
yeah.
So you bet my ass I'm going to go do that.
You got to find some way of keeping yourself accountable, whether it's sending a text to your friends, telling your spouse, telling your parents. You got to have that accountability where you put things out there and say, I need help in staying accountable to this.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm super disciplined. I have been my whole life. I'm very accountable to my actions and to what I say I'm going to do,
Yeah.
but I'm not as accountable if I don't put it out someone, if I don't
Yeah.
share with it, if
Yeah,
I,
no, that makes sense, because I didn't grow up. Not that I wasn't super disciplined, but like my parents were hippie, loosey goosey. Like we were at the beach surfing, we had a great time. It wasn't like boom, 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 boom. I remember my Jaja, that's my mom's dad. He was more disciplined, but I never really grew up that. So as I'm getting older, and
yeah,
and growing as a human, I'm like, oh, that actually works for me. That's really what I'm looking. So like when I say
yeah.
I'm going to go back and I'm going to go find another sponsor and I'm going to go back through the steps, I'm looking for that discipline to figure out why am I have these actions here.
Yeah. Well, and everyone dismisses this stuff. And it's like, we put out this content, take this time to help you from two people that have hit rock bottom and become successes and have good marriages and are good spouses. But this stuff is prevalent in all of our kids too, right? Like I see
Yeah.
the addiction with my iPads on the kids,
Oh
right?
yeah.
And I
Yeah. Yeah.
squash it because
Yeah.
I know that leads to other things in their life, right?
Yeah.
My Super Mario Brothers addiction when I was 8 years old led to some other addictions, right? Like my dad's Playboys downstairs, and then the dad's Playboys downstairs led to sneaking the alcohol out that he had
Yep.
downstairs, right? And then getting away with that and that becoming a habit led to finding pot, and then finding pot led to, and getting away with that led to ecstasy, and then ecstasy led to cocaine, and it was all steps. So damn you, Nintendo. You turned me into an addict.
I
But
heard this quote though, like with your kids, like when do your kids aren't kids anymore is when you give them a phone, when you give them social media, when you give them the internet. So I'm trying to hold on as hard as I can, and it's hard because I mean I
yeah,
got a
your kids are
9-year-old
in
and
an
a
older,
5-year-old, and like all of her friends have phones, and it's just
yeah.
like it ain't happening. And you'll get there someday, right? But not today. So
Yeah.
because I know how addictive my personality is, and if I had a phone back then, well, forget about it. I would have been in way more trouble.
So mine comes from my faith. Mine comes from the Bible. Mine comes from wanting to be a good person, but following a discipline and rules that my Christianity has led me to. I know you're still working through your spirituality, but what keeps you grounded on these morals and principles?
Surrounding myself with people like you that care about me, that have high discipline, that are open to me giving, like not feeding me bullshit. Like I've never not talked to you, and you've never not given me advice or given me the roadmap or showed me something that wasn't authentic or wasn't bullshit. And I feel like we're tribal. And so like that's what is doing it for me, is connecting with people like you and having the right people in place that don't, this is literally just don't feed me bullshit, right? Like
Yeah.
you're coming to me authentically. And that has been the most powerful thing that I've learned in the last 2 years, is like the community of having just great people in your life.
Yeah. Well, and it's self-control and it's self-discipline, and none of us are perfect, and you can't have the shame loop from it. But if you let this one thing sneak in that you don't have control of, I promise it leads to other things in these
Yeah.
lives, right? Is it really a big deal if I drive down the street and I notice an attractive woman running? I think it is a little bit, but it's not that big a deal, right? In
Yeah.
most people's eyes, like people make stupid comments like men are going to be men, right? But I freaking know that me letting that happen, right?
Like what's
Then
coming
could
next?
lead,
It's the progression of what's
then
coming.
leads to me, oh, I can have more than one glass of wine at
Yeah.
dinner, right? And I
Yeah.
can have three, not one, right? And
Yeah.
then that undisciplined ravels, right? And then I drink too much in a night and I don't go out and get hammered anymore. But then I miss the workout on Saturday that I was supposed to have,
Yeah.
right?
No,
And then
you're 1000% right, because like they always say, like the relapse starts in the head, right? It starts with the in being undisciplined and saying, okay, I'm good with that, and it's just a progression, right? And so if you continue that progression, like we're addicts, like it could just get horrible really
yeah.
quick. You know what I'm saying? So I
But what
like
I'm telling you is everybody's addicts. We
everyone
just
is like that.
we had addictions that were illegal and could kill you. Not everybody does, but we all have addictions that we can improve upon,
Yeah,
right? And
work, self, like codependency, like it's all out there. But it's, are you willing to accept that that's what's going on, and are you willing to be able to say like, all right, like this isn't for me, and I need to take a deep dive inside, because I feel like that's what most people aren't doing. They're not looking inside to figure out what's the root cause of that emotion or that feeling of whatever I'm doing. You know what I'm saying?
right, right, yeah, absolutely, man. And you noticed something pop up. You want to share the medicine cabinet story, but and
Oh
take us
yeah,
out.
sure,
So
sure too.
this, I think some of this of you bringing this up was from that trigger going off. So
Yeah,
so
yeah.
take us out with that.
For sure. So like I've always been the guy, like I had addiction to pills. So like I would go to your house and I would open up your medicine cabinet and I would look at what's in there because there was a time in my life where I would have taken all of your shit, right? And so I was at my parents' house and I went to the bathroom in there, and mom, don't get mad at me, but I just opened up their cabinet. I don't know. I just like I didn't even think about it. Like I just was like taking a piss and I opened up the cabinet and there were hydrocodone in there. I'm pretty sure they were hydrocodone. I didn't even need to look. I didn't touch the bottle. And I like thought, I was like, oh, what? And I thought about it for like 2 seconds.
Oh.
And I said, yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I played the tape. I don't want my fucking wife to lose her mind right now because I'm at my parents' house because that's embarrassing. I don't want to have to deal with my mom when she calls me in a month and she's like, hey, I had a bunch of Vicodin in my whatever, and they're gone. What's going on here? So I
Right.
just like, it was that split second of like, okay, so like stuff like that, working on like what causes me to do that. I don't know, it was just like a reaction, but for me, I didn't because there was a time, and it would, and for a long time I would just always taking your stuff. It didn't matter, right?
Mhm.
And I didn't. I shut
So
it.
I think that you doing that, right, was a start of a trigger back to your past, right?
Yeah.
And then you didn't like that because you fixed that in your life, right?
Yes.
But then
Yeah.
it sent you back to, hey, I'm doing this now, and this could become a problem. And maybe I wouldn't be looking in the medicine cabinet if I rid myself of this. So it's
Correct.
just like the steps, right? We started on opioids and cocaine, right? And then we had to take a step down, right?
Yep.
And then we got good here, right? And then there's another step down, which is better here. And we're never going to be fully healed until we're completely straight edge. And that's really the journey, man.
You're
And are we going to get there? Are we going to fall off? Am I going to get rid of my 2 p.m. coffee every day? Right? I hope so, but I got to be willing to do it, right?
yeah.
I gotta be willing to do it. So, man, I just think you're super brave. I think this helps a ton of people. We all have things like this in our life that we need to first admit to ourselves, second, have a plan, third, be vulnerable about, fourth, have a community like Jeff and I have where we can talk to each other, right? And then fifth, go to work on it.
Go to work.
And that's what life's all about, is continuing to grow and get better. And this is just you and I continuing to grow and get better. I'm trying to be a better example of a Christian. I'm trying to be a better husband. I'm trying to be a better father. I'm trying to be a better leader. I'm trying to be a better example for my employees and my kids. And that's just a lifelong um, commitment and journey to try and be the best version of myself. Am
Yeah.
I ever going to get to it? Maybe, maybe not. But it's fun trying, and it's fun continuing to walk down those steps. And I feel when we get there and get closer to being grounded, that's how we live our best life. So, man, I love you. I love everything you share. We all have things like this in our life. I appreciate your vulnerability. Anything you want to, final
I love
thoughts
you
you
too,
want to end
buddy.
with?
Yeah, no, listen, hey, if we do this podcast because this helps me probably more than it helps you, but it also fills up our cup. So if you're watching this and you're thinking about trying to get sober, or you're thinking about needing some help, I say it every podcast. I'd much rather take a phone call from you at 2 o'clock in the morning than have to go to your funeral. We are literally always available. We're going to put our personal mobiles in the chat. Where you need to talk to somebody, you need resources, like we have all of that covered. Don't even worry about it. We're here for you. Again, this is to help anybody out there that wants to figure out what they got going on, and we're here for that. And I just always want to lean on that. Like, we are always available. Chad's always available. I'm always available. If you need help or you want to talk to somebody, like, we're your two guys.
Yeah, it can be freaking pornography addiction. It can be work addiction. It
Yeah.
can be food addiction. It could be sugar addiction. It could be caffeine. It could be heroin. It could be, there is no judgment. And we all have things we're working on. And here's what I know, I am equipped to handle most of it. I've coached hundreds of people in my life. I've talked to probably 500 people about addiction, depression, suicide over these last few years that I've been vulnerable about it. And here's what I do know. If I can't handle it as a resource, I have plenty of resources right behind me.
Yep.
And so does Jeff. that can help you. And if we're not equipped to handle your situation, we have people that are. We are here to help. We are here to inspire. We are here to help you know that everyone deserves a second chance. And we call it the third chance because we've been given that many chances in life. So thank you for tuning in. We would love to help you. And if you have a story that you would like to share and you would like to give your testimony of overcoming rock bottom, we'd love to have you on. DM either of us or comment below, and we'll feature you as a guest.
Love you, bro. Thanks for the time.
All right, bro.